Oh, Age of Wonders 3 is my first ever 4X turn-based game that I've actually properly played. I thought I'll put maybe an hour into it and then I'll quit, but it seems as if I actually enjoyed the game and I'd put 22 hours in. But what's so good about it? Well, first off, the game has a very good tutorial menu where it goes over everything. So if you like me, it tells you how to play and what certain actions do in battle without having to do a Google search. This is very useful because it doesn't break from immersion from me going to Google and then searching up something and then being distracted. Everything is in the game and it's so useful. The game plays like any other 4X game, but is a bit different from the others, with the leaders being part of the battle. Whereas other games like Civilization or Empires, the leaders are left out but are only there for the negotiations or diplomatic matters. This game makes the leaders do all of that, but also are a core part of the battle. Anyway, the game plays like any other 4X game. You explore, you build, you grow your army, you learn more skills along the way. If you take your time, you're just gonna get rushed by the enemy. But in this, the skills you learn can be used in battles or the game map to produce more production, or to even protect the city and keep the citizens happy. If they're not happy, the workflow goes down, so you have to make sure both the citizens and your production goes with the flow, or you start to fall apart. Another concept I like in this game is that the map plays a huge part. In this game, you really should be exploring and finding ways to get around to grow your army. In the third mission of the elves, this was a massive issue for me until I found a shortcut in a cave that leads to an area where the leader is. Before this, I would try so many times to get to him without exploring, and I was getting annoyed. But when I used the shortcut, the game became so much more fun. In this game, when I said the leaders can be part of the battle, that means if they die, you lose. So you really have to make sure they survive until the very end. Also, the leaders should really be focused on, as throughout the map there are items that you can gift them to make them better in the battle. For example, I got an egg and was about to throw away because I had no idea what it was about, but I decided to keep it, and around turn 6 it hatched, and it was an animal that I was using in the game map and battle sequences. It allowed me to travel more spaces without having to use a new turn. However, there are aspects I didn't like. I wish it was possible to give units more spaces or to give it to someone else so I could have them travel a bit more without having to use a new turn. In addition, the game sometimes just moves my units early. If I want to end my turn early, like stop please, I don't want to move them there. I want to keep them at the space they are at, or I want to move them somewhere else. Just because most of my army is going in a certain direction doesn't mean I want this person to go that way too. On the subject of units, so you can have 6 of them in one group, so that way you don't have to focus on every single one of them. But if you want to break them apart or keep them together, you can. This is a very important mechanic when you want to explore or when you're getting ready for a battle. So if there's an enemy, I can have a group go up to them and then start to break them off one by one by putting them all around the enemies, surrounding them with my units. Doing so, my units can engage in a battle all at once, giving me time to flank the enemy. This mechanic is very useful as it provides a tactical advantage just by having more units to attack someone. You just force them into submission, and I wish that was a mechanic. If the game tells you that you're going to win, then I would hope that you would have the option to force the enemy into surrendering. Like, here, fool, I have more people, so now you better die. Or surrender, please. I hope the enemy could just surrender without having to kill anyone. In addition, if an army is too large and you surround them, not all of them will get to participate. This sucks, as when I want to massacre someone, I can't. I just can't. I want to just have a huge, massive army to kill someone. Unfortunately, that's not possible in here. Something I didn't mention is the game also has an auto feature. And it's very useful for me, as sometimes I don't even know what the best approach is for a battle. So I can have my army fight for me without myself doing anything. This does, however, take away some enjoyment, but it's also entertaining to just watch my army wipe out a different faction. It's also a good way to learn new strategies, because if I don't know what to do, and the AI do, I can just learn from them. When talking about diplomatic matters, I really can't say much. You're given a few options in each encounter. You can start a war, you can just ask to be in the borders, or you can try and be allies with the different faction. Every time I've talked to anyone, they usually reject my proposal of being allies and they just want to start a war. But with the items you might find around a map, you can persuade them into whatever choice you might have chosen. But with the map being pretty big, there's a lot to them. There are other ways you can grow your army by exploring the map, which in turn might lead to areas where a different group or a faction might be. They usually have a contract for you if you want them to join you. In doing so, you then gain that unit for the duration of the match. Onto the story. The game has two story paths. One of them has us be a high elf who's trying to prove that she's a leader, but also trying to reclaim the land that was once theirs. And then there's a human story where they're trying to grow their land, repair what was lost in an attack from the Dreadnought, and to protect Larissa, the Emperor's niece. I never got around to finishing the campaign, but I did watch it and I must say it's very intriguing with how certain events play out, especially the Elven Court. The voice acting during the story segments are very good and represent the characters pretty nicely.
In accordance with the General Regulations for Officers, Volume 4, Section 12, Military Records, I, Edward Portsmouth, Dreadnought Commander, make this record.
King Saradas, once first Stormlord of the Dark Elves. My mother is Julia, former Queen of the Wood Elves. Their passion reunited dark and light souls, restoring the High Elves.
And that's pretty much to it. There are two more game modes, but both are essentially the same, as you get to set up a scenario for yourself with human or AI controlling different factions, and the other is the same, but in that you create a custom game, so you get to choose how big or small you want a map to be. You also get to choose if you want to have the game be set on land or an island. You also, in addition, get to choose the game flow, where the different modes affect how the game will be played out. My favorite being just to build. I like building my armies and then sending them out to go attack. I don't like having them I don't like to be rushed in a game like this. And I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is my first ever 4X game, and I couldn't ever imagine I would like this. If there's any other 4X games I should play, I'll definitely do so. I'm looking forward to the other Age of Wonders game. I forgot what the name was, but that looks very cool. That looks very cool. You're in space and you have dinosaurs and different factions and new mechanics that actually look much better than in this game. And I know I'm probably missing out some stuff, but I don't remember what. In any case, I guess that's it. Yeah, alright. See ya.